Washington Redskins take the field here at FedEx Field, and two teams not in a good mood at all, trying to rebound from losses a week ago. And this afternoon, Fox NFL Sunday brings you the Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Washington Redskins. Overcast, we've got a great day temperature-wise. Dick Stockton along with Troy Aikman and Chris Collinsworth. I still can't believe that the Buccaneers squandered that lead. What a meltdown they had, losing to the Colts in overtime. A short week, and now this team has been battered by injuries, Troy.
Well, they really have. Of course, they've already been without Joe Juravicius. Now they're without Mike Allstott, and Keyshawn Johnson enters this game with a thigh bruise. He's going to be limited in his action today, and so you would think that that spells doom for this offense. But in talking with talking with Brad Johnson last night, he said this is when John Gruden is at his best, when he has to find creative ways in order to move the football offensively.
Yeah, but you have to go back to what happened to this defense a week ago. Absolutely amazing. For 3.5 games, this Buccaneers defense had given up 1 touchdown. And then in the second half against the Colts, they give up 5. And Dick hit on it. This is an angry team coming in here today. They're a little bit embarrassed. They're at 2-2. They're the world champions. They feel like they've given away a couple of games already. They need a win right here.
You know, Chris, everyone's wondering what happened with Warren Sapp. He did take the field, danced around. No incident in pregame warmups, but now we have the game.
I don't think either one of them wanted to get fined. I think that was the whole key to it. But in talking with LeVar Arrington about this incident this week, he said, hey, I'm from Pittsburgh. When we played high school football in Pittsburgh, nobody crossed the 50-yard line. If you walked across the other team's 50-yard line, that just meant you were ready to fight. So I'm assuming that he wants to fight if he comes over on our side. It made for a good show already this afternoon.
Well, I know one guy that doesn't want to get in a fight, and that's quarterback Patrick Ramsey. And last week, he threw the ball 50 times and was hit on a number of occasions. He's playing a much better defense here today. Steve Spurrier knows that they cannot throw the ball that many times if they're going to be able to have some success. I would expect them to run the ball a little bit more and try to take the pressure off this quarterback.
And come back from that tough loss to the Eagles. And this is the time that we will tell you to remember to answer today's Sprint Virtual Coach question. Use your PCS Vision from Sprint or log on to foxsports.com. Redskins and Bucks getting set to kick it off, and the Redskins winning the toss will get the ball first. And if you want a tight game, stick with us. All 5 of the Redskins' previous games have been decided by 3 points or less. And a lot of ways to look at that. They also have gotten off to some agonizingly slow starts and forced to rally. Sometimes they come back and win. Steve Spurrier trying to get to 500 as an NFL head coach. He was once a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and coached the Tampa Bay entry in the USFL. And John Gruden across the field, Super Bowl coach, trying to see whether his club can get over 500. The Buccaneers have won both their road contests by solid margins, but have stumbled at home in overtime. 2-2 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are in second place, a couple of games behind surprising Carolina. Redskins a half a game behind Dallas. Chad Morton getting set to return. And Buccaneers not at all happy with their special teams play, and this kick sails out of the end zone for a touchback. And the Redskins will operate first. Let's take a look at their offense, and they've got a bit of a problem up front. Dave Fiore out for the 3rd straight game after knee surgery, so rookie Derek Dockery will be there. Randy Thomas also had his knee drained. Their strengths are Samuels and Jansen, the tackles. Trunk candidate will open at running back. Lavernius Coles, Rod Gardner, Robert Royal, the tight end. And Coles, amongst many, leading the NFL in receptions with 33. Patrick Johnson coming in late and lining up as a 3rd wide receiver, number 84. Cowboys jump in front of the Eagles. And the handoff to Candidate gets a big opening up the middle and is close to a first down near the 30-yard line.
Well, as you mentioned, Dick, they come out with 3 wide receivers, try to spread out this defense a little bit, limit the guys that are going to be in the box defensively, get the ball to Trunk Candidate. And one of the things that he does best is he's always looking for cutback lanes. Huge hole on that backside.
And I think they're trying to take advantage of just how aggressively Warren Sapp was assumed to come out to start this game.
Darnarian McCants on First, second down and 1, and the handoff to Trunk Candidate for the first down. Candidate gaining only 17 yards. That's what happens when you throw 50 passes. Simeon Rice with 4 sacks, and that is the defensive line. Warren Sapp still sackless on the season. But this is still regarded as the best defense in the National Football League. Derek Brooks, one of the reasons, and the big switch. Dwight Smith moves over to the left side. Jermaine Phillips has never started a game. Now the free safety with the injury to Brian Kelly. And here's the first audible. And it comes with first down, and on the slant, Rob Gardner makes the reception just beyond the 40-yard line, and a gain of 9.
You know, as a person that lived through a lot of no-huddle offenses, I can tell you that it is a lot easier to make those audibles, to make those checks when you're at home than it is on the road. Last week against Philadelphia, every time they went to the audible, it was a disaster. But at home, because the crowd's on your side, much easier.
19 false starts on the year, and this time Trunk Candidate is hit hard and might lose a yard on the play. And Greg Spires, one of the tough front 4, making the tackle for Tampa Bay.
Well, we've already seen the Washington Redskins with a commitment to run the football, something they did not do last week. And even when they did run the ball last week, they were not very effective. Talking to offensive coordinator Hugh Jackson yesterday, he said, we want to go to a 3-wide offense and run the football. And that's exactly what they've established early in this game.
They line up with 3 wideouts, but they've run the ball and will again on 3rd down and 2. And Trent Candidate breaks one off left tackle and winds up in Tampa Bay territory, picking up 12 yards before Dwight Smith brings him down.
You know, one of the things that the Redskins wanted to do today is their assumption was every time they audibled, they thought the Tampa Bay defense would check. So here Ramsey's going to the audible. The Tampa Bay defense actually checked out of it. I think it was a run all the way. I think that was just a dummy audible, try and get them to check to a more conservative defense.
And that's what Peyton Manning had success with last Monday night.
Trunk Candidate limped off, and Liddell Betts has replaced him. And the throw again to the left side, again to Rod Gardner, and not a bad pickup of 5 yards as the Redskins get inside the Buccaneers 45.
Well, right now, Patrick Ramsey, when he is dropping back to throw the football, it's quick drops, it's 3-step drops, it's 5-step drops. He's very decisive with where he's going with the ball. That's all part of game planning and coming into this game. They know that he cannot sit back there and pat that ball and have time to deliver today.
And they continue to use the 3 wide receivers and run the ball more. And out of the shotgun on 2nd and 5 is Ramsey, and he hands off to Liddell Betts, and he may have another first down for the Redskins. Very close. Liddell Betts coming in, and he will often for Trunk Candidate. Monty Kiffin manning the sidelines, the defensive coordinator for the Bucs.
Well, and right now, Steve Spurrier's got him a little confused. They're in a cover 2 defense right here. Safeties, 7-man front. It looks like it's a passing formation from shotgun, but they run the draw to Liddell Betts. And when you're running against a 7-man front, Tampa Bay in the past has shown an ability to stop the run with 7 guys. They have struggled as of late doing that.
Well, one of the parts of this game plan today for Steve Spurrier is to get Rondé Barber in the game in a nickel situation. They want them to take out a linebacker, spread the field a little bit, and then try and pound the football at them.
Hey, Liddell Betts now has gone out as you look at Rondé Barber, who returned an interception for a touchdown. So Betts is shaken up, as was Trunk Candidate. They go with 2 fullbacks now on 3rd and inches with Brian Johnson and Rock Cartwright. Cartwright, the deep back, he gets the call, and he didn't need much. First down for the Redskins. And running the ball effectively, John Lynch coming up from strong safety to make the tackle, and this crowd very much into the game early on.
Well, this crowd understands that this is an important ball game, and tough loss last week against the Eagles. Had a chance to maybe send that game into overtime. Now they come back here to home, playing against a very tough football team in Tampa Bay that's very frustrated themselves with the loss that they suffered.
But the first time Ramsey went to the audible, did you hear the whole crowd? Oh, no, not again.
Well, they've taken a lot of the pressure off of Patrick Ramsey on this first series for sure. First down on the 37, play action, and the ball is knocked loose. It's a free ball, and a bunch of white shirts under it, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have recovered the fumble. Simeon Rice picks it up, and it was Rice who finally and initially hit Ramsey to force the fumble.
Well, Simeon Rice working on the outside against the tight end. Is just absolutely no way Robert Royal can make that block. I can't believe that blocking scheme.
Crowd is quiet. Can hear the pin drop now. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers forcing a turnover after the Redskins were smartly moving the ball. We'll have a first down on the Redskin 45 in this scoreless game. Brad Johnson returning to Washington, where he quarterbacked for a couple of years. Michael Pittman on the pitch, and Pittman is going to be stopped. Good pursuit and a loss of a yard on the play as Trotter and Wynn make the stop.
Well, anytime you have Warren Sapp in the game, obviously you have to pay a lot of attention to him, but you don't have to play 3 guys on him when Simeon Rice on the outside leads this team in sacks. He has 4 sacks. The next closest person on this defense has 1. You don't leave a tight end like Robert Royal on one of the best pass rushers in the game.
Second down and 11 as the Bucs force a turnover and get a takeaway for the 46th consecutive game. That's the longest current streak, and Brad Johnson trying to take advantage of it, and he finds Ken Dilger, his tight end, who makes the reception down to the 40-yard line. A 6-yard pickup with LeVar Arrington on the coverage. So the Buccaneers offensive line, John Wade's the big man, but basically it's undersized and pretty efficient though for this group in front of Brad Johnson. Michael Pittman has to bear a lot of the load. Jameel Cook, now the back in place of Mike Allstott, out for the year with a pinched nerve. And Brad Johnson, leading passer in the NFC, facing 3rd and 5 on the Redskin 39. And Johnson going play action, has a lot of time, drills it nowhere near the intended receiver, Ken Dilger, and the Redskins hold, bringing up 4th down.
Well, and they had taken Keyshawn Johnson out of the game before that 3rd down play, and you just wonder, is that thigh bruise giving him some problems? I know he came out and he worked it out before the game and felt like he was going to be able to go, but there's no question that he is not 100% in this game, and because he's leaving in a critical down like 3rd down, you just wonder if it's bothering him.
And they're going to need him. Carl Williams is out of action as well, and you know they've lost Juravicius for a while. Chad Morton back to receive the kick from Tom Tupa. Tupa trying to keep it in play. The fair catch by Morton inside the 10-yard line. So the Redskins weather that turnover storm, and they'll get the ball again with Keyshawn waiting for another chance. No score, and the Redskins get the ball back on their own 9-yard line after a terrific defensive stand. And Patrick Ramsey with the quick out to Lavernius Coles, and Coles getting away only up to about the 15-yard line. Gain of about 6. Ryan Neese in on the tackle.
One of the things that if Spurrier can get a good feel on this cover 2 versus man coverage for the Buccaneers, that time he caught Lynch coming up, the corner dropping off, the perfect time to throw that flanker screen.
Second down and 5. They go to the same play, different receiver. Rob Gardner loses it out of bounds. He made the reception and then fumbled it out of bounds, so the Redskins keep the ball, as Ronde Barber was right all over Rod Gardner, and a gain of about 7 yards.
Here's what I'm talking about now. John Lynch coming walking up here, which means the corner is going to have to drop back, and that's allowing these quick throws on the outside. John Lynch hurt his neck apparently a little bit in the pregame warm-up, and he had to put on that neck brace that you see on the back there, just in a little tackling drill to start the game. I mean, it really was kind of an innocent little drill, but he got thrown for a loop.
Got a stinger from that pregame injury. As it is, the Buccaneers secondary banged up. First down, Patrick Ramsey on the screen pass, and Trump candidate can't hold onto it. So let's see exactly what happened to Lynch. What looked like an innocent drill during the warm-ups, guys.
Well, yeah, a real innocent deal, and this is what they do getting ready for a game, and an innocent pop there, and something just went, and something in his neck. And as we just saw right there, as you can tell, he's not wearing the neck brace, but he went back into the locker room, came out, has it on, and I would have to believe that it's got to be uncomfortable going with a kind of pad that you're not accustomed to wearing.
2nd and 10. Once again with 3 wide receivers. They keep it on the ground. A trunk candidate. And candidate knocked back. And a loss on the play. And right now, let's check in with James Brown, our first game break of the day.
Hey, Dick, how alert is Dallas? Eagles trying an onside kick, which they did successfully 3 years ago. It's an alert Randall Williams for the Cowboys, who recovers it, takes it 37 yards to pay dirt. Boy, Troy, these Cowboys are playing some alert football. They lead at 7-0 over the Eagles. Back to Dick, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
It's amazing what great coaching can do, and that team's playing with a great deal of confidence right now.
3rd and 10.
Here they come.
And trying to pick up the blitz, and they've done it pretty well. And the pass caught by Darnarian McCants. First down on a crossing pattern and gets more. How about that protection for Patrick Ramsey? And when it's all said and done, 29-yard gain before Phillips brings down McCants.
Well, this is where Washington had problems last week, and Tampa Bay tests them here with the blitz. They do a great job of picking everything up. They give Ramsey the time to deliver the football, and it's a pretty good route right here by Darnarian McCants, running the square in against Corey Ivy. That's a matchup that favors Washington.
And remember, Ivy in there because Tim Wansley didn't get it done and apparently fell asleep in some meetings this week as well.
On the 48, and the handoff is to a candidate, and nothing doing for trunk candidate. So mixing the plays well. Take away that turnover. Patrick Ramsey 5 for 6 for 54 years, and McCants caught that big 32-yard touchdown pass that very nearly brought the Redskins back last week.
Well, and you look at those numbers right now by Patrick Ramsey, and a big part of that is because they are staying committed to the running game. And I thought our pregame show guys, Terry and Howie, made a great point in the philosophy with Spurrier getting guys out, and then Tampa Bay trying to protect Brad Johnson. Right now, Spurrier's doing a great job of mixing things up and allowing this young quarterback to play.
And a flag is down, and the Redskins' biggest problem, as you guys know, has been the false start bugaboo. And here it is again.
False start. Number 50, the offense.
Larry Moore
Simulated the start of the play. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and still a 2nd down.
And Troy, maybe you can hit on this, but for an offensive lineman, the quarterback's inflection has to be different when you're going to audible so that they don't think that it's the snap count. And Patrick Ramsey was with his offensive line letting them tell the difference.
2nd and 15, and out of the shotgun, here they come. They pick it up again, and the pass is thrown incomplete. Patrick Johnson was the intended receiver.
Yeah, you saw Patrick Ramsey there pointing himself. He knew he had an opportunity to complete that pass. Just ball got away from him, which is happening sometimes to him. But to go back to your point, Chris, you know, you would think that they spend time on that in practice, and it'd be one thing if it always happened when they were on the road, but almost half of their false start penalties have come while they've been playing at home.
That's the 20th false start penalty of the year so far, 8 of them coming when he's trying to audible.
3rd down and 15 on the Redskin 43, scoreless game. And here's Ramsey, and Ramsey has Lavernius Coles, makes a terrific catch. First down Redskins as they move into Bucs territory. Brooks on the tackle. So Lavernius Coles very tough on himself for a guy who's leading the NFL in receiving.
Well, he has been, Dick. He hasn't felt that he's played well the last couple of weeks. He wanted to come out and get back on track today. He again's running a square in against his cover 2 defense, and just a great catch by Lavernius Coles. And you talk to these coaches and you talk to these players, this was a great pickup for them, not only because of his ability, but because of his leadership in the locker room.
16 yards on that play. They go up the middle of Betts. So Betts and the trunk candidate shake off their early injuries, but nothing doing on first down as we wind down to 5 minutes remaining in the opening quarter.
Jermaine Phillips in there starting at safety because Dwight Smith had to move over to the cornerback position. Looked pretty good on that blitz right there. He came all the way around the corner, sort of a slow developing play in the backfield, and was able to catch it.
You know, you take a look at the play clock, and they've done a great job getting in and out of the huddle and giving Ramsey some time at the line of scrimmage.
Redskins had hoped that it would be worse than 16 seconds by the time he would get the play and get onto the line. And there's the pressure on Ramsey, but he gets it off to Rock Cartwright. And Rock Cartwright makes a lot out of very little. And a great ad-lib by the quarterback, Patrick Ramsey, and picks up about 8 yards after Nate Webster put the pressure on from his middle linebacker position.
Dick, people have asked me over the last 2 weeks, what is it that I like so much about Patrick Ramsey? And it's things like this that he can do. He's not a great mobile quarterback, but he's able to slide within the pocket. He's tough. He hangs in there. He knows where his checkdowns are, and that's just a great athletic play by the quarterback.
Very tough, poised quarterback in his second year, only making his 11th start of his career. They need 2 yards for the first down, and the pass caught. And again, it's Darnarian McCants on the slant, this time to the right side, and a 7-yard pickup. And the Redskins are running enough to keep the passing game going. That was Corey Ivy, the nickelback, making the play. And the chess game goes on between Steve Spurrier and Monty Kiffin, and the Redskins with another first down.
Well, what's happening now, John Lynch is having to come down to try and help against the run on first down. Steve Spurrier putting the spread offense in there, which is bringing Corey Ivy, the nickel, back in the game. And Darnarian McCants is a heck of a receiver, and they like that matchup.
Redskins on the Bucks 26. Ramsey drills it, and another catch, this time by Rod Gardner. They're mixing it up and throwing it around. Last week, the Redskins completed passes, did Ramsey, to 10 different receivers, and very close to the first down.
Yeah, well, right now, these corners just cannot hold up outside. If they're going to drop John Lynch down in the box and create one-on-one on the outside, we're going to see this all day. Rod Gardner here working against Corey Ivy, and that's pitch and catch. That's what you do out in practice, one-on-one, and he's getting some time to throw the football, and the receivers are doing a good job getting open, and that's why the ball's coming out on time.
Short of the sticks by a yard. 2nd and 1, and the pass thrown away. And I think that Ramsey purposely threw it away because McCants was well covered and didn't want to take a chance of forcing it.
Well, and I think Derek Brooks on the defensive side, you always hear about offensive audibles, but defensive guys can audible as well. That time Derek Brooks checked out of the blitz, dropped off his linebackers. Ramsey saw it and I think just threw it away.
Well, the Redskins off to a good start against this defense. Believe it or not, they are 5 for 5 on third downs. That is phenomenal against the Buccaneers, and the 14th play of this long drive coming up next, and a timeout called by Washington. We'll be right back. Redskins forced to call a timeout. They only had 10 men on the field, and still looking at 3rd down and 1. The Bucs defense has been tremendous so far, but Rock Cartwright has the first down, picking up 2 yards. How about Steve Spurrier and his play calling in this first quarter, Chris?
Yeah, I really think Steve's done a tremendous job. He hasn't allowed, except for the obvious one bad protection when they tried to block Robert Royal against Simeon Rice. Short, quick throws, running the football, much more patience. Steve learned his lesson last year. There's no question. He'll admit it to you. He was wrong. He thought he could come in and throw the ball in the NFL like he did in college, and you just can't. And it's mostly because of protection reasons.
Yeah, I tell you, talk about ball control. This is the 24th play run by the Redskins to only 3 for Tampa Bay with 1:46 to go as Liddell Betts picks up 2 yards. And this is where it really gets tough against the Buccaneers when you're in the red zone.
Well, and it's something that Tampa Bay is not accustomed to. Tampa Bay came into this game offensively #2 in the National Football League in controlling the clock, keeping it over 33 minutes. Right now, that has been the complete opposite. Washington Redskins doing a great job here in this first quarter, keeping Tampa's offense off the field.
2nd down and 8. Redskins on the 13, and another whistle as the Buccaneers were coming up to the line, threatening the blitz. And let's see if the Redskins flinched
Prior to
again.
the snap.
Yep.
False start.
Second false start.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Well, and that one's on Byron Chamberlain, and they just picked him up this week, and so you can understand that a little bit more. But
well, he might as well just join the club, man.
Well,
he wanted
not?
to get in on this act, you know.
And it's I tell you, it is so frustrating. It's so hard to score touchdowns when you get down in the red zone as an offense. It's very, very difficult because of the short field. You can't hurt yourself with penalties.
2nd and 13, and the quick to Lavernius Coles, and gets away from Ronnie Barber enough to get back to the 15-yard line, and a 3-yard pickup. And the reason why Byron Chamberlain is in the game is because Royal, the tight end who started the game, has a bruised hip. So Robert Royal, who's been the starter, Zeron Flemister was released, picked up by the Browns, and Byron Chamberlain, who last played with the Vikings, is a bit out of shape, and the Vikings said sayonara.
Well, you know, remember last week this Buccaneers defense looked a bit out of shape at the end of that game too. They were pretty tired, and they've been on the field a long time already.
17th play right here, and this pass after the big pressure on Patrick Ramsey is dropped by Lavernius Coles. A tough pass, and it was Derek Brooks, the middle of the outside linebacker, trying to get to the young quarterback.
And I think this is what they really got to try to avoid. They've got to be able to somehow protect Patrick Ramsey, and it's really not Steve Spurrier's nature to keep backs in to help. But they're going to keep trying to bring more people than what they can block up, and I've got to believe his body's still recovering from the pounding that he took last week in that Eagles contest.
Meanwhile, John Hall, who has kicked 3 from beyond 50 yards, will attempt a 33-yard field goal to give the Redskins the lead. And Hall's kick is good, so the Redskins dominating this first quarter lead John Gruden's Bucks 3-0. Well, the Washington Redskins really holding the ball for practically the entire first quarter. Ramsey 8 for 12, and Hall's 33-yard field goal. So they had 18 plays, but they get 3 points out of it, and very tough to score against the Buccaneers in the red zone. And all Brad Johnson wants to do is say, look, just give me a chance to play. We got 15 seconds left in the quarter. I just want to get out there. So Hall kicking off in the waning seconds, and Aaron Stecker on the return, and a good one. Flag is down. Stecker is knocked out of bounds by John Hall, the punter, but a penalty flag back down at the 20-yard line. And 9 seconds showing on the clock. That will be marked off against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, Troy, I think Dick brings up a good point. See if we can get the call here first.
During the return, holding number 43, the return team. 10-yard penalty. It'll be a first down.
Well, we've all been in games when you don't get on the field until the end of the first quarter. It's tough to get in a real rhythm.
And a timeout with 9 ticks left. Back here, the Washington Redskins leading the Buccaneers 3-0. 9 seconds remain in the first quarter. That's all you need to know right up on that scoreboard. Bucks on the 15. Yeah, it's been that much of an overload, and very aggressive are the Redskins. And let's see whether the Bucks' right side of their line move. Indication by Brad Johnson is the penalty would be against Washington with 8 seconds left. Green Bay jumping on Kansas City 14-0, trying to send the Chiefs to their first
5-yard penalty.
Loss of the year.
Still first down.
Bernard Holsey committing the penalty, so it's still first down. Here the Redskins defense, in case you're missing, and Bruce Smith needing 2 sacks to pass Reggie White, and that's the rest of basically a no-name defensive line. Good linebackers, Armstead, Trotter, and Arrington, and Champ Bailey as good as they come as a cover corner. First down and 5. And off to Pittman going up the right side, fumbles. With 2 seconds left on the clock, and the Buccaneers recover. So Pittman fumbles, and
I tell you what,
Dilger recovers it for the Buccaneers.
LeVar Arrington just streaked across the field and made that play. He has come out here ready to play today.
And that's the end of the first quarter. 3-0, the Redskins in front. Start of the second quarter. I don't think the Tampa Bay offensive players should get paid after that in the first quarter. 4 plays, under 2 minutes of action. Come on. Second down and 4. on the Bucks 21-yard line. Michael Pittman close with that extra effort for the first down, and Jeremiah Trotter grabs hold.
You want to define superstar in the NFL? Watch this play. All the way across, finding the hole, creating the turnover. What a phenomenal athlete. 250 pounds of man running all the way across the field to create that turnover.
There's no question he came into this game pretty jazzed up, ready to have a
I would say
physical
he was ready.
It was like pro wrestling during the week. 3rd down and 1. Handoff, and Michael Pittman should have enough for the first down. And Michael Pittman really going to have to handle a lot of the load guys, with Mike Allstott out for the rest of the year on injured reserve with the pinched nerve in his neck. And then talking to John Gruden last night, he said he is without question my explosive player, so they're going to count on him.
Well, it's probably going to be a good thing that he's going to be carrying more of the load, because I think he'll get a chance to get more in the flow of the game as we see Tampa Bay here go to a no huddle.
Keyshawn Johnson in motion, and now a whole series of moves by the Bucks. Brad Johnson, and on the slant, Michael Pittman out of the backfield for a first down. Pittman second on the team in receiving, picks up 13 with Armstead on the coverage downfield.
Yeah, and in talking with John Gruden, he said when Washington has had to face offenses that shift, they get confused on some simple things. Gruden comes out, they start shifting around their people, they're moving tight ends, they're moving wide receivers, and then they get Pittman in the backfield, and he's a real weapon as a wide receiver. And he had some big catches last week, and this is something that he wants to do more of. He really enjoys getting out there and running routes for this offense.
And on the first down, this pass knocked down, and a good defensive play by Matt Bowen on Jameel Cook coming out of the backfield. And right now, for a game break, let's again check in with JB.
Hey, Dick, take a look at this. I know Troy and Chris will love this. Tyrone Poole, big hit of Tiki Barber, fumble. Who picks it up but Matt Chatham? He takes it 38 yards to score. Greg Conway did add a field goal to narrow the gap. It is 7-3 New England. That into the first back. Dick, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
JB, I like good offensive plays.
Don't show us any of those things anymore. 2nd and 10 on the 39. This crowd in full throat as Pittman gets hit and wheels his way to the 43-yard line for a pickup of 3, with Pepe Zellner, the former Cowboy, bringing him down. Remember, Pittman before the end of the first quarter fumbled, but the Bucks recovered.
Yeah, we were talking about Michael Pittman a little bit earlier, and I don't know that people realize just how hard this guy runs. I mean, it is amazing when you watch him play. He is a good blocker, he's a tremendous runner, and he always gets whatever the play is dictated to get, he'll get that and a little bit more. And I think he has really done a great job for this Tampa Bay offense. And as you mentioned, Dick, now he's going to be carrying a bulk of that load.
He means as much to them, says John Gruden, as Marshall Faulk does to the Rams. Play action. Brad Johnson goes underneath, and the pass caught by Thomas Jones, and Jones slides his way into Redskin territory, and a big gain of 12 yards. Trotter was downfield again, so they're going to see a lot of Jones and Stecker and Pittman in the backs today for the Bucks.
You know, they're really taking advantage right now of the Redskins trying to pay so much attention to the wide receivers down the field, but they have tremendous talent coming out of the backfield. Michael Pittman and Thomas Jones about as fast of players as there are playing running back. So now as you drop back to cover those wideouts, just dump the ball down. Give those guys a chance to make your plays.
And Dilger is out as well. Todd Yoder has been the tight end the last couple of plays. Pittman returns on 1st and 10 on the Washington 47. And the quick pass and the catch made by Keenan McCardell. And the drag out of bounds by Matt Bowen. So the first catch of the day by McCardell as Dilger on the sidelines with his helmet off, and he is limping and obviously injured.
Well, we see Tampa Bay there go to a empty set offense, and they split Jameel Cook out wide, and when they do that, they wind up getting Champ Bailey, who's their best corner, on Jameel Cook, which is ideally not what they would like to see happen. They'd rather see Champ Bailey on a guy like Keenan McCardell, but that's what the shifting that John Gruden's doing is creating for this defense.
They got 8 yards on the last play, and again, major shifts 2nd and 2, pump fake, and out to a wide open Jameel Cook. So Jameel Cook paying dividends, forced to start for the injured Mike Hallstatt. Chalks up 14 more for the Buccaneers, who are driving impressively here early in the 2nd.
Well, and again, they come back to it. This is Jameel Cook right here, and now you got Fred Smoot, their number 2 corner on him, and you would think that he's going to come up and challenge him a little bit, but instead he bails out of there thinking the inside receiver's running a go route, and that's why it pulled Smoot off of Cook.
Well, Brad Johnson's pump fake the other way. Fred Smoot just assumed the ball was going out of there, backed way out, and made for an easy completion.
How resourceful has John Gruden been without those wide receivers that he has? And here's Pittman with a burst up the middle, and finally tripped up by Bowen, but not before he gets inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, and this offensive line, they have gotten better here in the last couple of weeks. They've gotten better in pass protection, and they've gotten better opening up some holes in this running game. And you're going to see this hole open up, and Pittman's going to take it and work into that backside where the weakness is of this defensive front, and he's up at the linebacker level before they even can know it. Jesse Armstead trying to bring him down. He's not going to. Nice run, nice execution.
And I think Jesse Armstead overran that play. That was his man.
1st and goal at the 9. Bucks trying to come back after trailing 3-0, and the running play to Thomas Jones gets them nothing. In fact, a loss of a yard with Zellner and the linebacker Jesse Armstead in on the play. And the news again, not good for a member of the Bucks offense. Their tight end Ken Dilger questionable for his return with a sprained foot, and the hits keep coming for Tampa Bay's offense. Troy.
Well, they have, yeah, and last week we saw a lot of that. As we mentioned at the beginning of the game, that's when John Gruden's at his best. He's a very creative mind. He finds ways to get his personnel on the field in ways that allow them to have success. He's doing that now.
This is the 12th play, and the pass intended for Keyshawn Johnson, thrown way over his head, and a late flag comes in from the end zone. Keyshawn Johnson looking back as if he might have been held. Todd Bauman.
Yeah, it was thrown in the direction of Reggie Barlow. You got Champ Bailey on Keyshawn Johnson. That's not in the vicinity of where the flag was thrown.
And the Redskins claiming.
Prior to the pass, he'll use the hands to the face. 25 defense. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Yeah, that's Rashad Bauman. He comes in as their 3rd corner. Rashad Bauman's right here. He's lined up in the slot as their nickel guy. They get into the bunch, and yeah, that's Barlow that they call him on. Hold him. You can hold him up to 5 yards, but at that point you got to let him go.
Well, plus I think he got up to the face too, and that's what they were calling.
1st and goal now at the 5, and here is Pittman who fumbles it, and Brad Johnson just grabs it and holds on. And it was Reagan Upshaw, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, who actually got to the backfield before the snap the way it looked.
Yeah, and Reagan Upshaw had a big game last week against Philadelphia. He's a guy that you know he's going to, I think he's right there, you know is going to come up with some big plays in the ballgame. Actually, he's on the other side. I apologize. And he's kind of a crazy guy. You know, they were talking about him from the organizational standpoint. You don't always know if he's going to go to the right place, but every once in a while he goes to the wrong place and makes big plays. And so that sort of big play capability is something they really wanted on this defense.
They lose 5 yards on the play, and they're trying to get some of it back. Jameel Cook hit hard, and a great crunching hit by Champ Bailey. No gain on the play. So it'll be 3rd and goal on the 13, and this crowd is loving it.
And Champ Bailey is one of the most complete corners in the game of football today. In fact, nobody comes to mind that can do it all like he does. He's a lockdown corner. He's also very physical within the running game, making plays. And as we see here, he's willing to come up and make tackles. And he's doing it all with a fractured left wrist and a sprained shoulder. And through all of that, he has not missed any practice time. He's been a real pro, getting himself ready to play. Big factor here today so far.
And the Buccaneers getting a chance to run their offense here early in the 2nd, and Brad Johnson quick calls the timeout. 7:26 to go in the 2nd. The Bucs trying to forge in front here. Buccaneers using a timeout with the play clock slipping down, and now it'll be 3rd down and goal. The ball is at the 11. Some pressure up the middle is picked up. Brad Johnson goes underneath and hit inside the 5 is Todd Yoder. And they're going to put the flag down back at the 15-yard line.
So you got roughing the passer on Brad Johnson.
That's a big one. Automatic first down when it looked like the Redskins defense had held on 3rd and long.
Well, in last week's game against the Eagles, LeVar Arrington got called for a penalty like this, kept the drive alive, and this is just an absolute killer. You can see Brad Johnson, he's stepping up, throwing the ball, and you know, I say every time, I just don't, as Reagan Upshaw on the play, I just do not agree with that call. I think that the quarterback's not getting hit that hard. It's not flagrant. I disagree completely with the call. I think that's a penalty, especially when you're talking about a game like this that completely changes the complexity of the game, and I just don't think it's right.
Roughing the passer, number 91, unnecessarily hit the passer in the back after he hit the ball.
Chris, your opinion?
It's to the goal and an automatic first down.
I think what makes it doubly tough is the fact that he's coming up and stepping up in the pocket. He could have easily been running the ball at that point. And so now, whenever you're asking these guys to try and play defense and the quarterback is on the run where he could be running, I'm not so sure he wasn't out of the tackle box at that point anyway. But what they're going to get him on every single time, Troy, and we've seen it, you take that one extra step. If there's one step before you make the contact, they're just going to call it. I mean, you might as well as a defensive lineman know it.
And down here is where you're going to miss a guy like Mike Allstott. He's got the only rushing touchdowns for this offense. He's a big part of the package down here in this red zone.
For roughing the passer will be added on to the end of the run. It'll still be 1st and goal.
It'll be 1st and goal and half the distance to the goal line. And when a quarterback says that was a good call or a bad call of roughing the passer.
Well, they bring in Anthony McFarland
and Warren
Sapp. Of course, we knew the comments LeVar Arrington made that if Warren Sapp got in, he was going to be looking for him.
More than that, he said, I'm going to get him.
Get him, yeah.
So let's see if he's going to get him right here.
I wonder what's going through his mind right now.
Getting him.
And the handoff to Michael Pittman. Doesn't get over. And it was LeVar Arrington.
He got him.
Yep, he did.
He got him. He said he's going to get him, and he got him.
I tell you what, he was known for this when he played at Penn State, diving over the pile and making plays. Right here, LeVar Arrington coming over the top of the lead blocker and going after the runner. That is a great play by LeVar Arrington.
You remember the play from the draft reels where he was diving over the top?
Oh, gosh.
Wrong side, wrong gap, made the play, and he's world famous for it.
Kerry Jenkins up front lining up as a tight end, and here is play action and wide open, and making the catch is Todd Yoder, and that was an easy one. Yoder, no one near him, replacing Ken Dilger, grabs the ball for the touchdown, and the Bucs take the lead. But we had a little drama in here with McFarland and especially Sapp.
Well, and that's what happens when you've got a defense that's so focused on the running game and trying to stop the run. You come out with play action, pretty simple. Come out with Brad Johnson. You got Todd Yoder just all by himself. And it's tough. It's tough on a defense to play both the run and the play action pass in that situation.
You know, Brad Johnson almost missed that throw. It was so wide open, he almost got a little concrete elbow on the free throw there.
Martin Gramatica. And he gives the Buccaneers a 7-3 lead. And so Brad Johnson returning to Washington. And he finds Yoder, only the 2nd catch of the year for Todd Yoder. And Tampa Bay up 7-3. Todd Yoder's first career touchdown, and right now the Tampa Bay defense is saying to the offense, thank you very much, after all that work they had in the first quarter, getting the rest so far here.
Well, there's no question, and the big difference right now between the 2 long drives by each offense is that Tampa Bay gets a touchdown, Washington settles for the field goal.
But they wouldn't have without the roughing the passer call.
Ground ball is shortstop by Gramatica, and it's going to go foul, which means the 40-yard line for the Redskins. So Martin Gramatica, well, I guess after what Matt Bryant did in the game against Dallas, you always know that a kicker might kick one out of bounds.
40-yard line, 1st and 10.
I haven't quite figured that one out. The field's 53.5 yards wide. I don't know how you can't keep it in the field of play.
Break for the Redskins offense, trailing by 4.
Life got.
Chris, you pointed out that the Buccaneers were able to get a touchdown. The Redskins just a field goal on those long drives, and Troy, you did too. But got to remember those 2 defensive penalties gave Tampa Bay an extra chance. First, Bauman's illegal use of the hands, and then the roughing the passer penalty. Otherwise, it was 3rd and goal at the 13. Now it's the 1st and 10 at the 40 after the kickoff went out of bounds, and not much for a drunk candidate, maybe a yard. Well, coming up, it's a big baseball day, and the Chicago Cubs with a chance to eliminate the Florida Marlins, leading 3-1, and a chance to go to the World Series for the first time since 1945, and everyone anticipating tonight's Game 4 at Fenway Park, Yankees and Red Sox, after a bizarre game yesterday. Yankees lead in that series 2-1. Second down and 9. They'll keep it on the ground to Candidate again as he charges out close to the 45-yard line. And it'll be 3rd down with 5.5 minutes now remaining in the first half. Derek Brooks in on the tackle, and Candidate shaken up early in the game had to come out, and he makes an exit once again.
Well, that will affect him if he's not able to play. I mean, as we've talked about, they like to platoon him and Liddell Betts, but Liddell Betts is probably the better back that's suited for this Tampa Bay defense because of his downhill style of running.
More of a power back than Candidate. 3rd down and 5, and here comes the pressure on Ramsey, and the pass thrown behind Arnerian McCants. So Tampa Bay getting a lot of pressure on Patrick Ramsey, and he knows what that is after last week, and it's 4th down.
Today, the Redskins are going to try and allow Chris Samuels to play one-on-one against Simeon Rice. Simeon Rice, now one of the leading sackers in football, one of the best out here at the tackle position. And in talking with Chris Samuels earlier this week, he said, you know, the problem with playing against this guy is his arms are so long, even when you think you've got him blocked, he reaches out and knocks the ball out of the quarterback's hands.
Tim Wansley bobbles the ball. Yes, Tim Wansley, who would have started today if it hadn't been for some internal problems. And as you mentioned, Chris, being late for a couple of meetings, and he's forced to come back with Carl Williams out with a hamstring pull. So Wansley is the return man, and a little shaky that time. Some injuries since this game has gotten underway. Robert Royal, the tight end, with a hip injury. He's in the locker room. You see Trunk Candidate with an ankle hurt, and Ken Dilger, the tight end, but his backup caught a touchdown pass for the Bucks. 1st and 10 for Tampa Bay on the 20, and the pass to Jameel Cook, incomplete. Could not hold on, trying to make a one-handed grab, and Jeremiah Trotter made sure he wasn't going to hold on.
I can guarantee you, you start running routes over the middle of the field, Jeremiah Trotter is going to put a hit on somebody, and that's what he does right here. He sees it. It's an angle route by Jameel Cook, and it got deflected, which kept the ball from getting put right on Cook, but that play was going nowhere anyway. Jeremiah Trotter right there to make the play.
Trotter had a huge game last week with the interception that really almost turned that game around.
So it's 2nd down and 10. Keep it on the ground, Michael Pittman. Strong runner, and Pittman gets about 8 yards, bringing up 3rd and short. O'Leary on the tackle, and for a game break, let's check back with James Brown in Los Angeles.
Hey, Dick, after spotting Dallas a 7-0 lead, the Eagles capitalized on a 9-play, 55-yard drive when Brian Westbrook out of Villanova and from the Washington, D.C. area, having gone to DeMatha High School, takes it in for the score, all tied in Dallas. Back to Dick, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
Good plug, JB, for your old alma mater.
They got Howie with Villanova in there, too. Everybody's happy in that studio.
3rd and 2. On the 28, Brad Johnson. Pocket drops, and the pass overthrown. And there again, we're going to the running back, Michael Pittman, which is obviously part of the game plan today since they went to him earlier. and Jeremiah LeVar Arrington.
Yeah, the problem, though, is when you have Arrington on the outside, he can just plow right through blockers right back into your quarterback. So Johnson didn't have a chance to really step up and make that throw. I think he even got a little piece of the ball or the hand or something out of Brad Johnson.
Yeah, and last year, LeVar Arrington led this team in sacks. He had 11, which is pretty impressive for a guy who primarily plays linebacker, but they do like to get him at defensive end, and they're trying to move him around a little bit more this year, so offenses cannot set their protection to his direction.
Chad Morton back to receive the punt from Tom Tupa with under 4 minutes remaining here in the first half, and a line drive kick, directional kick, and Morton returning it out of bounds close to the 40-yard line. They tell me that Pam Oliver is here too. She's with your crew. Pam, is that true? You down here?
I know, Dick. Can you believe it? Anyway, before the Redskins defense just took the field, defensive coordinator George Edwards gathered the group up, and in pep talk I won't repeat, he made sure that they understood that they have to get fired up for this game. He, in essence, said, well, if we lose this game today, it won't be because of the defense. Meanwhile, an update on Chung Candidate. He has a sprained ankle, and his return is being evaluated at this point. Back to you.
Hope to hear more from you, and don't be a stranger. 1st and 10, and the pass, and you need a strong arm to get it, and he has it. Lavernius Coles was the intended receiver, and John Lynch knocking Patrick Ramsey down.
A lot of pressure coming up from this side. Corner blitz, safety blitz, everybody coming after Patrick Ramsey. And I talked with John Lynch earlier this week. He said, Chris, it's just not Patrick Ramsey that has trouble with the blitz. It's this entire offense, jumping off sides, missing protections. We're going to be angry blitzers out there today.
And they are. 2nd down and 10. Redskins on the 38. We got some time here, and the pass caught by McCants. 1st down to the Buccaneer 48-yard line. Corey Ivy, the nickel back, and McCants really establishing himself as the 3rd wideout on this team, Troy.
Darnarian McCants is really becoming a football player. Last week he had some opportunities. He had a couple drops, but he also made some big plays. Today he's running these square-in routes primarily against Corey Ivy, a young corner, and right now that is a matchup that is favoring Washington very much. They're singling him on the backside, and he's taking advantage.
They got 14 there, and Liddell Betts trying to get a couple here as we get close to the 3-minute mark. A 3-yard pickup for Liddell Betts, and Chung Candidate having his ankle taped. He had the longest run from scrimmage thus far for Washington, 12 yards.
You know, it's really amazing in the NFL how you can have one flaw in your defense and how teams take advantage of it. Last week it was Tim Wansley. They were able to take advantage of the Colts, and now Corey Ivy in there at the nickel back there throwing at him almost every time.
And they get the play to Ramsey in plenty of time to do this. 2nd and 7. Ramsey goes down, and it's Simeon Rice with his 2nd sack of the game and his 6th of the season. And a loss of 9.
Now that's on Patrick Ramsey, though. You cannot take a 3-step drop and hold the football. They've got a back trying to block Simeon Rice on the outside. You protect down. There's absolutely no way this is going to hold up. Ramsey has to 1, 2, 3, either throw it or throw it away.
Yeah, and Steve Spurrier was on the sidelines trying to get Ramsey's attention for him to check out of the play, which is what he did. But you're right, Chris. Ramsey's got to realize these guys are too fast at this level, particularly Tampa. But you can't outrun them. You got to unload it.
2-minute warning, and right now the Redskins are out of field goal range. Well, the protection of Patrick Ramsey, #1 priority for the Redskins today, and some of it is broken down. How are they doing so far?
I think it's a very well played game for the most part. Of course, Redskins have had some penalties, but these guys are doing a great job. Both offenses are doing a good job moving the football.
You know, Simeon Rice now with 2 sacks in this game, and neither one of them against Chris Samuels. They've been against tight ends and backs, and so he's done his job. I'm just not so sure that some of these protections are there.
I know you guys missed Joe Buck. He's at Fenway Park for Game 4 of the ALCS tonight.
You got it.
How much fun was that last night? Ooh, that was an amazing baseball game.
3rd down and 14 back on the Redskin 48, and Ramsey is going to go down again. They are just tightening the vise, and a flag is thrown at the end of the play, and Warren Sapp with a little bit of celebrating here as he picks up his first sack of the season, and a personal foul. So let's temper that enthusiasm somewhat. A personal foul called against the Buccaneers.
Yeah, it was the personal fouls on Monday night that really hurt this football team, and here they make a great play on third down, and another personal foul that's going to give the Redskins a first down.
Helmet to helmet hit number 94 of the defense.
That's on Greg Spires.
15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Tough penalty.
Well, right there, it's Greg Spires coming in as Ramsey's going to the ground.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that was third down and 14. Ball's going back to your offense, and at the very end of a play, you've got to go helmet to helmet. Good call by the official.
Both teams have made ridiculous plays on quarterbacks in this game to keep drives alive. On the 39 and on the draw play, Liddell Betts. Big run by Betts as the Redskins get back strongly in field goal range, and they don't get the first down, but they move it to the 31 of the Buccaneers with that 8-yard pickup.
And you just wonder when you watch this Tampa Bay defense. Of course, Monday night they were on the field an awfully long time. They had a short work week. They come into this game. It's warm again today. They've been on the field a great number of minutes, and you got to wonder how well they're holding up front, particularly along that defensive front.
2nd and 2. Play action. They freeze a few people, and here's Gardner trying to leap to make the catch. So Rod Gardner covered by Dwight Smith, who's forced to move from free safety to linebacker with Kelly's injury, and that'll be incomplete.
I was wondering when that one was going to come. They've been setting this up all day long. Dwight Smith, remember, moving from the safety position back to the cornerback. They finally caught him in single coverage, and Patrick Ramsey just missed him. It was a perfect play call, great route. They had it, and he missed him.
1:13 on the clock, 3rd and 2. Liddell Betts. And Betts with a first down. So after missing the last 3 third down conversions, the Redskins with a first down at the 27-yard line. Coming up on the Visa halftime report, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy scores and highlights from around the league. And the new and improved Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats. Redskins still with 2 timeouts remaining. And the Buccaneers also with 2, but they'll use 1 right here.
Yeah, and that's a good timeout for Tampa Bay, and it really helps Washington. Time was starting to become an important part here as we wind down this second quarter. And now Patrick Ramsey gets a chance to come over here and talk to Spurrier and regroup. And usually when there's some timeouts like this and Tampa Bay making that call, it gives them a chance to set their defense, and more times than not you can expect a blitz when you come back out on the field.
And Troy, right now we can set up the baseball schedule for tonight on Fox, and this afternoon the Chicago Cubs with a chance to wrap it up and move on to the World Series. But they haven't been there since 1945 and haven't won since 1908. That's today at 4 o'clock, trying to eliminate the Marlins. And tonight at 7:30 Eastern, the Yankees and the Red Sox. What will that game be like after all of the incredible incidents yesterday? Yankees lead in the series 2-1. David Wells and John Burkett are the pitchers for the evening game.
So you get a chance to watch a little history in the first one and a pay-per-view fight in the latter one.
Right. 1st and 10 on the 28 of the Bucks. And the pass incomplete. And on the slant, Rod Gardner well covered by Corey Ivy, bringing up 2nd and 10.
Well, and that time they moved Simeon Rice over to the left side, and he was working against Jansen, their right tackle. Normally Simeon works to the right, to the offense's left. They switch him, and they'll do that. This isn't the first time they've done that. They try to create mismatches along that defensive front. At times Warren Sapp will move as well. It's a pretty formidable group up front.
And once again the Bucks defense tested with another long drive engineered by Washington. They get it off in time. Running play to Betts. And Liddell Betts dives inside the 25, short of the first down by about 5 or 6. Derek Brooks made the tackle to prevent further damage. And the clock stops with 33 seconds to go, and a timeout called by Steve Spurrier. Well, Steve Spurrier, as we indicated, does have a connection. We know about the University of Florida. How about Tampa? He was the starting quarterback back in 1976, the Bucs' first season. Finished with 7 TDs and 12 picks. Yep, the ball coach, not the best of quarterbacks, but he had a good mind. And there you see him in action with that first team. And then from 1983 to 85, he was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Bandits of the USFL, where his record a lot better, 35-19. So he has connections. Asked him if he had any pangs about Tampa Bay. He looked at me funny on Friday.
I actually signed to play with the Tampa Bay Bandits in the middle of my career, but by the time I got down there, the league was pretty much no more at that point. I played for Spurrier at Florida, and believe me, it's like having one of your friends calling the plays. It's pretty good time.
Sure, CC, as he calls you, CC. 3rd down and 6. Ramsey's pass caught, and that's Rod Gardner down to the 1-yard line.
Well, they've got a timeout left, so they don't have to rush this right now. The clock's running. But
look at Jansen
call the timeout now.
Jansen's hot.
Boy, what a bang-bang pass and a bullet thrown by Ramsey, and Gardner in stride will get down to what looks like the 2-yard line, and 1st and goal as the Redskins use their final timeout.
Now, Steve Spurrier has done a great job calling plays. Right here, you've got Rod Gardner working against Dwight Smith, and he's going to jump to the inside. There's no jam or anything. The only player that can take that away is the linebacker. He's unable to get underneath it, and it's just great execution by this offense.
Remember now, Dwight Smith has been playing safety all year. He simply moved over because of the injury to Brian Kelly, but he has played quarterback his entire career. He's actually more comfortable, according to him, playing the cornerback position, but they have clearly been going after him and going after Corey Ivy today.
Well, the thing that hurt Tim Wansley last Monday night was that in their cover 2 package, he was not getting a jam on the outside receivers. As we saw there, Dwight Smith did not get a jam on Gardner either, and when you don't get the jam on the receiver, when you got safety help, it allows a guy a free release, and it's easy to get into the seams.
Now you have to throw the ball here, though, with no timeouts.
Gardner, 5 catches for 50 yards. 17 seconds, no timeouts remaining. And here's Ramsey's pass. Touchdown to Darnarian McCants. What an impressive drive by Washington.
You got Jermaine Phillips on Darnarian McCants, and McCants is just going to come up and run a little bit of an option route, come up and go out. Patrick Ramsey throws the perfect throw. Anything less than that throw right there, Jermaine Phillips has an opportunity to knock it down. That's just a great play by a young quarterback.
And the 4th touchdown catch of the year by McCants, who leads the club. John Hall with the extra point. Flag is down. And an offsides penalty will be called against the Buccaneers. It'll be declined. And the
Offside.
Redskins lead.
Defense number 26. The extra point is good. The offside will be penalized on the kickoff.
Darnarian McCants with a big reception and setting up the 2-point conversion, which failed. And now the Buccaneers allow their first touchdown in a first half this season.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize just how good this throw is, because the angles are very favorable for a defense when you're throwing down there in the red zone, and you have to get the ball out in front. Darnarian McCants does an outstanding job of leaning on Jermaine Phillips, getting him on his heels, getting a little separation, and then Patrick Ramsey delivering it where it needed to be.
If he'd have made that throw last week, we'd had overtime. About the same kind of a deal right there. But I really think one of the keys to this game so far has been the Redskins' ability to run the football, because it has kept some real basic coverage back there in the secondary for the Buccaneers, and they've been exposed. Jermaine Phillips, Corey Ivy, Dwight Smith, these guys are not matching up with these Redskins receivers.
Well, I think the Redskins, or Steve Spurrier, better yet, may have been listening to Terry Bradshaw there at the pregame show.
I'm sure he was.
He's done a great job, as you mentioned, of just keeping them off balance and minimizing the number of hits on this young quarterback.
5-yard penalty marked off for the kickoff, and so John Hall will kick from the 35-yard line with 14 seconds remaining in the first half. It's been a game of big-time ball control on both teams. The Redskins in the first quarter getting a field goal, and then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with a 16-play, 9-minute drive to take the 7-3 lead, and the Redskins coming right back at you with Ramsey hitting McCants.
You know, I mean, we're on the verge here of a really big story. I mean, we're talking about the world champions opening the season at 2-3, and they already have 2 home losses. And Troy, you know as well as I do how hard it is to try and win more than half of your games on the road.
That's extremely difficult. And yeah, when you lose one at home, then you got to pick those up on the road, and that's why this game today is so important.
And it wasn't just a loss, it was a huge loss, a heartbreaking loss, and it was a short week for John Gruden. We'll see what message he has for his team as time runs out. And that is the end of the first half here in Washington with the score. The Redskins 10, the Buccaneers 7. Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report. JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy right after these messages and word from your local Fox station. So the teams are on the field. Redskins leading the Bucs 10-7 with that late score. And right now, let's check in with Pam Oliver.
Okay, Dick, and talking with Steve Spurrier at the half, he said, sure, the quarterback's held onto the ball a couple of times too long, and the protection has only been decent, but he likes the way his group is playing. Says Tampa's blitzing a little bit more than he expected, but the idea offensively is to just keep mixing it up, maybe throwing a couple of draws. John Gruden, offensively, we just got to get the ball. He says our play on third down is very uncharacteristic, so he hopes to shore that up in the second half. Back to you.
And you know, guys, they really don't have any receivers today. McCardell has 1 catch, Keyshawn nothing. They're definitely going to backs and tight ends right now, and that changes the whole deal.
Well, and I think Pam hit it right, and I think Jimmy did during the halftime show there, that Tampa Bay came into this #1 on third down defensively, and Washington has converted 73% today. And if they can keep that going in the second half, that offense for Tampa isn't going to get any opportunities.
And we continue to see what we saw a week ago, just uncharacteristic defense out of Tampa Bay. You just wonder if there's a little hangover effect from what happened to them against the Colts, because this is truly one of the great defenses of all time, and yet for the last game, I guess, because a half there, a half here, they just haven't looked like themselves.
Understandable if there is somewhat of a hangover, because that was a stunning meltdown that, you know, a team giving up 38 points. I know the defense didn't give up all 38, but you don't expect that. And it was a big shock. Now they've got to go on the road on a short week, and they trail here as the Buccaneers bobbling. The kick was Aaron Stecker. Not the way the Bucs want to start the second half off, and Stecker clawing his way just beyond the 20-yard line. And a flag down to boot.
Well, the special teams play and the return teams in particular was a concern for Tampa Bay coming into this game, and they've done nothing to alleviate that concern through the first half.
You know, one of the things I felt like was missed last week was how good Tampa's offense was. We've talked a lot about their defense, but Brad Johnson in that game threw for 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, hit 9 different guys within this offense, and we've seen him have a great drive already today. So
Personal foul, face mask, grabbing and twisting the runners on the kicking team, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that hurts. So that'll give the Buccaneers good field position for their first drive. But Chris, even though he did find a lot of receivers, he doesn't have a lot of targets today because of injuries.
yeah, that's really true. But Brad Johnson and John Gruden have got to find a way to make this one work. This is not going to be a defensive day. It's obvious. Now this offense is going to have to step up and win a game.
Well, they're trying to throw to Pittman. The tight ends use the backs a lot. See what they do. First down at the 36, and they go to Pittman, incomplete. So he obviously is a target today as we take a look at the stats from the first half.
Yeah, and you look at it, and obviously they're slanted in Washington's favor when you see 163 yards total offense versus 84 yards for Tampa Bay, and that's because Washington was able to control the clock and kept the ball. They had long drives, and they converted on third down. And ultimately, this is still a game of third downs. Those that convert keep the ball and have opportunities to score.
I bet you haven't seen that long of drives in a season almost against Tampa Bay, much less than a half of football.
2nd and 10. Brad Johnson going underneath and a little out of sync so far in this half. Again, looking for Michael Pittman out of the backfield. And 3rd down and 10. Quickly, Keyshawn Johnson, who's playing despite the bruised thigh, has not caught a pass today.
And I don't know if he's right. He just has not looked like his enthusiastic self. Every time somebody bumps him off a route or whatever, he just doesn't have the same fight about him that he typically has. And obviously he's injured. He's trying to fight his way through it, but he's just not doing the job.
And Carl Williams is out, who is normally their 3rd receiver. Pressure. And it's picked up nicely by the Buccaneers. Keyshawn with his first catch. And let's see where they mark it. Very close to the first down, maybe a little short. Fred Smoot defending, and he is crawling, trying to get to the sidelines and shaken up, to say the least.
Well, and if they lose him, that's going to be a big blow to this team. Of course, they got Rashad Bauman, who would take his place, but then Adi Jamoh would wind up being the 3rd corner. And this is a big injury for Washington if it's something serious, and he's not able to continue.
I tell you, I've been so impressed watching Fred Smoot the last couple of weeks. You hear so much about Champ Bailey and all that he can do. Well, what that means is that people throw away from Champ Bailey and they throw at Fred Smoot. So oftentimes he's getting the best players on the other side of the field, and yet he's been able to hold up.
Yeah, and that's really what happens, Chris. I know when I was playing with Deion Sanders, he rarely got the ball thrown in his vicinity, and as a result, Kevin Smith was the guy that was ultimately picked on, not because he wasn't a great player. They just wanted to avoid Deion.
Helped up and slowly walking off is Fred Smoot. We'll be back. The injured Fred Smoot on the sideline will have a chance to recover a bit as the Buccaneers will punt. Tom Tupa kicking on 4th down. Coverages have been bad for Tampa Bay, allowing a 52-yard punt return, a 90-yard kick return, and then Tupa shanks it out of bounds. And the Redskins going to get a gift here, Troy.
Well, so many times as a punter, when you try to start putting the ball down inside the 10-yard line or angling out of bounds, that's what's going to happen. And what a tremendous break for the Washington Redskins, getting great field position when they should have been backed up at least to the 20-yard line and probably inside of that.
And Tom Tupa is #1 in the NFL this year at putting kicks out inside the 20-yard line. Always hated it, though, when punters tried to punt that direction, because if they shanked it, it's going to be a 10-yard punt. If you do it the other way, at least it lands in the middle of it.
Well, it was 20. He kicked it 20 yards.
There you go.
Is that what you mean?
There you go.
First down at the 35. So one kickoff goes out of bounds. And then one punt is shanked. First down, good field position, and the pass, great catch made by Rod Gardner, goes over the top. He had a defender trying to knock it down, and that was Dwight Smith picking up about 10 yards.
I'll tell you what, I keep saying it, but I am really impressed with the job that Patrick Ramsey has done. He's been under pressure. He's gotten the ball out. He's put the ball on the money. He's done a great job of reading where the ball needs to go and then executing the throw. And I'll tell you, I have to remind myself all the time that he's as young as what he is. Hard to believe, only making his 11th start today.
And has won 5 of his last 7 starts. It was a first down for the Redskins on the 45. Liddell Betts. And Betts had some running room, but that completely closed up thanks to Derek Brooks. Gain of 3. Let's find out about Fred Smoot from Pam Oliver.
Okay, Dick, as the trainers continue to look at Fred Smoot, they checked his heart rate just a few minutes ago. He has a chest contusion, is the early report. His return is questionable. Back to you.
Thank you, Pam. 13 of the 14 completions by Patrick Ramsey have come to their wide receivers, so you know what they're thinking. 2nd and 6, big screen to Lavernius Coles, and Coles gets the first down. They haven't had a chance to go to him often, but Cole's making the most of that, gets 9 yards and a first down to the 42 of the Bucks.
Dick, because of the problems the Buccaneers have been having in their secondary, they're having to play just a base vanilla cover 2 zone back there, and I think Spurrier now is really on a roll with this play calling. He's not seeing Lynch walking up like he typically does because they don't want to leave Ivy and they don't want to leave Smith out there in one-on-one situations. There they are, back again.
From the 42, here is Liddell Betts, and Betts is closed up, and a big tackle by Nate Webster. So the Redskins continue to go with 3 wide receivers and run the ball.
Yeah, and a big part of that, when they go with their 3 wide package, Rondé Barber, who is their best corner, goes in and he covers the slot receiver, whoever that is. It doesn't matter what receiver that is. Rondé Barber goes into the slot. Then you have Dwight Smith and Corey Ivy on the outside, and that's a mismatch regardless of who those 2 guys are trying to cover. You combine that with being able to run the football. You got Lynch in right now in an 8-man front, and it creates problems for your pass cover.
Well, he had no gain on the last play, and they can't pick this one up, and Simeon Rice,
3rd time today.
he had a running back trying to keep him out, and he ends up with his 3rd sack of the game. So a tremendous game, and Liddell Betts had no chance against Rice.
And Simeon Rice again lines up on the opposite side from where he normally does, and he's on a back, and that's poor coaching right there. I don't care what system you have or what your pass protection is. When you put a back on Simeon Rice, who, as Chris mentioned earlier, is one of the premier pass rushers in the game, that's just coaching, and that's poorly designed.
He has 3 sacks a day, 1 against the tight end and 2 against backs in protection.
Yeah, 5 tackles, a forced fumble, playing a Pro Bowl kind of game. And here is 3rd and long, and the pass caught by Betts, and Betts will be shy of the first down. He manages to get inside the 40-yard line.
I'll tell you what, this is range, though, for John Hall. If Spurrier wants to take a shot, he had a 54-yarder last week. Made 4 kicks of over 35 yards.
But still some kudos for that man, Simeon Rice, who ties his career high with 3 sacks, and that gives him 7 on the season.
Well, those are the 3 easiest sacks that he's had in his career.
All staying on the sideline, and so they're going to punt with Brian Barker in there. And right now the Bucks finally send someone back there to return to Tim Wansley. Flag down, penalty thrown, and the ball will be down by the Redskins at about the 6-yard line.
I tell you what, if this is against the Bucks, they will have a field goal shot here.
It will be, and it will be declined.
I don't know about that. Now you line up. Now you've got a 50-yard field goal try.
Well, he's made a 54.
Offside. Yes, he did against
already this
Atlanta.
year. Right.
I've got to give John Hall a shot. Now, obviously, this is great field position down here, so it's not a no-brainer decision. It's not bad giving the Bucks the ball down on the 5-yard line, but get a shot for 3 points. I'm going to take that one.
Offside defense. Number 26 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. It'll remain 4th down.
That's Dwight Smith.
And they're going to go for it. They're going to try the field goal. And the only problem with that, Chris, is that if they miss it, then you're giving the ball to Tampa Bay with tremendous field position, and you're giving it to an offense that's been struggling.
But he's been reliable. He has 3 kicks from 50 and beyond, and the 54-yarder you talked about sparked the team. They were down 17-0, the Redskins, to Atlanta. He kicked it just before intermission, and the Redskins overtook the Falcons impressively in the second half.
Well, this is a big kick, regardless of what the outcome is of this, either for Washington getting 3 points or the field position it's going to create for Tampa offensively.
I'll go on the record. I'd be doing the same thing.
51-yard attempt. He is 3 for 5. You can see it from that distance. And this kick is perfect. And that's why the Redskins fought to get him from the New York Jets along with those 3 other players. And Steve Spurrier has added to the Redskins' lead here on the field goal by Hall. It is now 13-7 in favor of Washington. And the Redskins got a big break when Dwight Smith was offsides on the punt, allowing John Hall to kick his 4th field goal from 50 yards or longer. And that gives the Redskins a 13-7 lead over the Buccaneers. Here in the second half, nearly 5 minutes gone by. Bucks coming off that Monday loss to the Colts. A lot of people curious to see how they would rebound. And they're in a tussle, gentlemen, here in the second half against the Redskins, who are looking to go 4-2 on the year. We'll be back.
There was a penalty on this play, but it was called on the wrong team. Look at this. I didn't draw that very well, but we have an illegal formation on the part of the Washington Redskins right down here. This guy is off the ball. You have to have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. That's what drew Dwight Smith up into this formation. They called the penalty. They called it on the wrong team.
So the Buccaneers, despite that, looking to get back in the game, beginning from the 20-yard line, and Michael Pittman with the rush, picking up about 3. And for a game break, let's again go out to L.A. and James Brown.
Hey, Dick, Jake Delhomme doesn't have to go up top very often because of Stephen Davis, but he does here, hooking up with Steve Smith, a 52-yard pass play, and Carolina bouncing back strongly, 17-13 right now, over Indianapolis. Nancy Bernstein's laughing, but I guess it's all right, Dick. Back to Dick, Troy, Chris, and Pam.
Battle of the undefeateds. 2nd down and 7. Fred Smoot, who is shaken up back in at cornerback for the Redskins, who fake a blitz on 2nd and 7, and Brad Johnson completes to Keenan McCardell, and McCardell doesn't get out of bounds and is stopped short of the 1st down by LeVar Arrington. Is he angry or what today?
Well, I think they're going to call helmet to helmet or personal foul, but I don't know that they should. This was not a defenseless receiver. He became a runner.
Absolutely. I've got it. They have to call something else. That can't be the penalty. I think it's against Tampa.
The Bucks indicating, the Redskins indicating it is a foul. Jeff Triplett, the referee.
After the play is over, Tony, number 87 of the offense.
That's on
That'll be a half distance.
McCardell.
It will be 3rd down.
Let's hear it. Let's see it and hear the hit first.
I don't know how you taunt. I don't know how you taunt after getting hit like that. I mean, that was unbelievable hit by LeVar Arrington. If it were me, I'd be saying thank you and getting back to the huddle.
Well, he just threw the ball back out. And that's one of those points of emphasis this year. They're not going to let you do that. That is a huge hit. Whoa.
Back to the 15, 3rd and 15. This crowd is as loud as I've ever seen, and here is Michael Pittman wide open, and Pittman is going to get the 1st down. He has been the chief target today for Brad Johnson, and Michael Pittman picking up 18 yards, and this crowd has quieted down dramatically as the Bucks maintain possession.
And that was a huge 1st down for this Tampa Bay offense. The defense for Washington, they played very soft. They come underneath the Pittman, and he just attacked the 1st down marker. And this is an offense that has not had the ball very long. In fact, they've only had it for 14 minutes of this entire ball game.
And Keyshawn Johnson made the key block on that one.
Buccaneers advance it to the 33. Play fake. And Keyshawn Johnson is there for another catch into Redskin territory, 21 yards, beating Bauman to the sideline. So 2 big gainers by the Bucks.
Well, and that's what happens when Fred Smoot's not in your lineup. You've got Rashad Bauman out there on Keyshawn Johnson, and Keyshawn Johnson, as we've talked about, he's playing with a bruised left leg thigh, and he's still able to get separation on Rashad Bauman. They've got to be able to come up and challenge Keyshawn, because right now he's an injured player. He's not going to be running by people.
And I think this Bucks offense is starting to feel some of the desperation. They don't want to end up 2 and 3 out of this one either.
1st down on the 46 of the Redskins. Johnson will go to the air again and drills this one, and turning around and making a big catch is Keenan McCardell. Did they blow the whistle? He runs into the end zone, touchdown. McCardell was never down by contact. Champ Bailey was defending, and the Buccaneers alertly score.
Rolling on the field is a completion and down by contact at this spot. First down.
Absolutely a beautiful throw by Brad Johnson. The back shoulder pass, almost impossible to cover in man coverage. And yes, there was contact made, but it was before Keenan McCardell had the ball in his hand.
And the official signaled touchdown after he got up, Troy, and went into the end zone.
Yeah, it was a great call by calling him down by contact.
Right
And Brad
there.
Johnson, I'll tell you what, he does a tremendous job of giving his receivers an opportunity to adjust to make the catch. He does it there, and Keenan McCardell does the rest of it.
First down on the 19 of the Redskins, and they move Yoder, the tight end, wide to the right. And here is a fade, and it's overthrown to Michael Pittman. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10.
Well, that's what they can do with Michael Pittman on the outside. That time they've been working him on the slants, working him on the in cut. Then they come right back with a slant and go. He's going to come inside and just completely destroy the defensive back on the play, Ifeanyi Olete. Anytime you get a guy like Michael Pittman with wide receiver moves against a safety, it is just a mismatch. That is the Marshall Faulk part of the equation that Brad Johnson was talking about with us last night.
Right now, they're riding the arm of Brad Johnson. They've not run the football effectively in this game.
2nd and 10. 6 defensive backs with Smoot and Bauman in there, and here is Pittman breaking a tackle after Jones at the 15, and Jones getting down to within a couple of yards of the first down, getting 8 on the play.
And Thomas Jones, he's a guy that they really like. Of course, we talked about the fumble that he had against Atlanta. It got the coaches very nervous about getting the ball in his hands, but they feel that he's going to become a bigger part of this offense as the season progresses. Of course, Michael Pittman, he's had a couple fumbles already today as well.
Smoot coming out, but he appears to be all right. Thomas Jones acquired from the Cardinals for Marquise Walker during the offseason. So it's 3rd and 2. Jameel Cook lining up, and on the bootleg, pass is caught by Yoder, touchdown. And a flag is down back at the 10. So hold the phone. Todd Yoder going in for what could be his 2nd touchdown, and apparently it is, as Brad Johnson signals the score. Flag against Washington.
Prior to the pass, 24 defense holding. That penalty is declined.
And it's on Bailey.
Touchdown.
Yoder, with his first 2 career touchdown receptions, ties the game at 13.
Boy, every once in a while, you just have the perfect play call. Going on the other side, they're going to the bootleg on the top side of your screen. The blitz was coming that way, but because all the backs were moving there for the play fake, there was nobody left over here on that side. If it were not for the play action to the left, that protection would not have held up.
And Martin Grammatica looking to put Tampa Bay in front, and he does, 14-13. So with Ken Dilger out of action with a sprained foot, all of a sudden Todd Yoder becomes a key target for Brad Johnson with his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. Back here at Landover, Maryland, the Buccaneers edging in front of the Redskins 14-13. Brad Johnson with his 2nd touchdown pass, both to the backup tight end Todd Yoder, pressed into service with Ken Dilger out of there. And Liddell Betts is returning this kickoff for the Burgundy and Gold, and he barrels his way out close to the 34-yard line.
Sometimes you just have to get lucky with your play call. Because all the action was going this way, they were able to pick up the blitz that was coming right there. Had that blitz been coming to the other side, they would have hit Brad Johnson right in the face. They just had the right play called in the right situation. Everybody moves that way. That's the 2nd time they've hit him with that bootleg for a touchdown.
And moments ago, Fred Smoot walking into the Redskins locker room. He did see action in the secondary on that last drive. Patrick Ramsey with the Redskins on their 33. Lavernius Coles gets by 2 defenders. What a bit of running by Coles, and he gets huge yardage into Tampa Bay territory to the 45. 22-yard pickup and a couple of misses.
Well, last year, the Washington Redskins really lacked any kind of speed offensively. They made an effort this offseason to go out and acquire that. Nobody faster than Lavernius Coles, and what a great job he does once he gets the ball in his hands, making people miss and getting up the field.
Troy, the play fake is what set this play up. You've got Rondé Barber coming on the blitz, but by the little play fake going to the outside, McCants was able to get the wall sealed off on the inside and set up that big play.
On the Bucs 45, play fake, getting rid of it as he gets hit to Gardner, and the pass is intercepted. Dwight Smith picks it off on good coverage on Rod Gardner, and so Dwight Smith, who is starting at cornerback today because of the injury to Brian Kelly, with the interception, giving the ball back to Tampa Bay.
Well, you're going to watch the pressure, and they bring a four-man rush, but they're not able to pick it up. Chris Samuels gets completely turned around by Simeon Rice, and Patrick Ramsey gets absolutely pummeled, and he's unable to get anything on the throw, and that's why it was intercepted. They had a chance on Rod Gardner against Dwight Smith, but Ramsey had no chance to get enough on that to get it out there.
And actually, Dwight Smith leads the Buccaneers with 3 interceptions. He had 2 against the Atlanta Falcons, and this is his 3rd.
And Booger McFarland got the pressure that got right in his face and set up that interception.
46 straight game with a sack and an interception, longest streak in a long while. And on the pitch, or the pass to Jameel Cook, crossing pattern out of the backfield, and a gain of about, well, it's a first down. He'll get about 13 in all with LeVar Arrington on the cover.
And how about the game that Brad Johnson's having? He's playing exceptionally well, and he's played well all season long. Last year he led the NFC with quarterback rating. He leads it again this year, and this is his first chance to come back and play against his former team in the Washington Redskins, and I know that he was excited about that. And a guy that just seems to do so much for this football team, yet is overlooked very often.
Tell you what, Troy, I think they're taking advantage of Arrington's aggressiveness on that bootleg. He's putting himself out of position.
Michael Pittman got a good opening, good blocking up front, and he carries to the 30, gaining 8 yards.
You know, Arrington is so angry in this ball game. And, you know, all this stuff, the build up with Warren Sapp and all that kind of stuff out there, and you can just tell Arrington's been knocking people out left and right. So when you get a guy like that on defense, you go play action, you go bootleg, you try and make him take a couple of missteps, and that aggressiveness actually is working against Arrington right now.
Well, and the other thing is that John Gruden, really, his style, he likes moving the quarterback. He'd like to do even more rollouts. It's not Brad's style, so they try to calculate it when they use it. It keeps the defense from just pinning on one point back there.
2nd and 2, Michael Pittman flagged down. Pittman will have enough for the first down, pending the call. Michael Pittman, healthy from the ankle injury of a year ago, but that will nullify the first down, as we will have a holding penalty.
Holding, 71 offense, 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Kerry Jenkins, who is rotating with Cozy Coleman at left guard today.
Well, yeah, actually, Cozy Coleman, he's playing right guard now, which is where he played a year ago. And it looks like they've taken Jason Whittle out at right guard, moved Cozy Coleman to right guard, and then they bring Kerry Jenkins in to play left guard. But as you mentioned, John Gruden said he wanted to work Kerry Jenkins in some this ball game. He was their starting offensive lineman last year, and a guy that they think can really help solidify that offensive front.
So now 2nd and long, 2nd and 12, and the play clock about to run out, and the Buccaneers are forced to use what could be an important timeout in a close game in the latter stages of the 3rd. A look at the Tampa Bay offensive leaders. Brad Johnson, the only quarterback who led the Washington Redskins to the playoffs in the last 10 years. That was in the '99 season, coming back in a Buccaneer uniform. 2nd down and 12 on the 20, and gets hit as he lets go of the pass. It is caught at the 22-yard line by Michael Pittman, but he took a hit there, did Brad Johnson.
You know, and one of the things that about Brad Johnson, they essentially didn't bring him back to Washington because they thought that he lacked some of the arm strength that you need in the NFL. Well, they found out pretty quickly around here this game's not all about arm strength, because Jeff George took his place, who has plenty of arm strength but none of the intangibles that a guy like Brad Johnson has.
Epi Zellner managed to deck Brad Johnson. 3rd down and 10. Nose bleeding and all. battered and beaten, gets hit again, and this pass is caught by Keenan McCardell. A great leaping catch and a first down, and the Buccaneers do it again on long yardage, Troy.
Well, this is unbelievable on so many fronts. First of all, Brad Johnson shows why he's one of the best quarterbacks in this game. You've got Michael Pittman on the outside, and he's not going to be able to clear the outside area, but Keenan McCardell, he's working here. He gets open on Champ Bailey, and McCardell, almost because of Pittman not being able to clear out that zone, unable to go get the football, but he makes a great catch.
Boy, Keenan McCardell was so special a week ago on Monday night. It comes right back with the play of the game so far for the Bucs.
23 yards and a first down on the 45 of Tampa Bay. Here's the pitch to Thomas Jones, and Jones with good blocking, still on his feet and knocked out of bounds. And a flag goes down after the play, and let's see if there's a late hit on Thomas Jones after the 14-yard pickup. And look who's in the neighborhood, number 56. We're not saying it's on LeVar Arrington. We're just investigating.
After the runner is out of bounds, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 56 to the defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, we'll say it now.
I think he was trying to hide over there so he couldn't find his number. No question about it.
He was
Good
out
call.
of bounds. Yep.
I'll tell you, ever since that last drive when Tampa converted the 3rd and long, which allowed them to go down the field and get that touchdown, you can just feel the momentum that has shifted in their favor.
Yeah, the air is out of the Redskins balloon right now, and the crowd can feel it as well. A lot of ridiculous penalties on both sides today. Stupid penalties. First down at the 27. Pump fake. Brad Johnson, one of his rare scampers, and dives to the 22. And right now, let's get another game break from JB in LA.
Hey, Dick, Troy and Chris know that this is Donovan McNabb at his best when he's flushed out of the pocket. Look at him moving nicely here, hooking up with Deuce Staley. Take a look at what Staley does as he works hard down the sidelines. 52 yards to pay dirt, and they have narrowed the Dallas lead now to 3. 17-14 Cowboys late in the third. Back to Dick, Troy, Chris, and Van.
Well, this is the best Dallas has played against an Eagles team in quite some time.
We get a feeling that division is going to be a dogfight all year long.
Hey, they're in first place, Troy. What do you expect? 2nd and 6. Michael Pittman off the left side, driving towards first down yardage. And let's see where they spot the ball. Matt Bowen making the play after a gain of 7, and it appears it is another first down for the Bucs.
And how about the toughness of Michael Pittman in the way that he runs the football? Right here, he knows he's getting ready to have contact, and he just lowers his head and just takes it right to Matt Bowen and picks up another 4 or 5 yards. This guy is a tough player.
And Keyshawn Johnson once again with a key block, working on the outside, just opening up the hole, those extra 2 or 3 yards. And a lot of people want to talk about maybe he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he does a lot of good things on the football field.
Well, you get receivers who block, that's a bonus. From the 16, here's Jones. And Jones crashes the 15, gets to about the 13-yard line. And that may be the last play of this third quarter.
This is fun. This is good out here. This is going to be a good finish.
Talk about the NFC East dogfight. That's what this game is, with the Redskins right now in 2nd place behind Dallas, and that is the end of the third quarter with the score. The Buccaneers 14 and the Redskins 13. The NFL on Fox will continue after a word from your local Fox station. Only 5 yards in the first quarter for Tampa Bay, and since then they've gone to town and lead by 1 as we start the fourth quarter. Dick Stockton along with Troy Aikman, Chris Collinsworth, and Pam Oliver. And the Buccaneers are driving, 2nd and 8 on the 14 of Washington. Pass thrown behind Keyshawn Johnson, and Rashad Bauman was closest to the ball. A lot closer than Keyshawn was.
Well, you talk about a mix-up on between 2 veteran football players. Keyshawn's going to run the slant, and it looked like Brad Johnson was expecting the hitch, and they're lucky that one didn't go 95 yards the other way. Bauman just couldn't pick up the ball quite quickly enough, and you could see Brad Johnson, running to make the tackle as soon as it left his hand.
Fred Smoot has come back out of the locker room, but he's on the sideline without his helmet, so Rashad Bauman remains in there. 3rd and 8. Play action Brad Johnson going to Yoder, the tight end, and his second effort should allow the Buccaneers to move the chains. What a big game for Todd Yoder, backing up the injured Ken Dilger today.
Well, it really is. I mean, a nice play call by John Gruden. They get Todd Yoder out in the flat. They move Brad Johnson again just enough to keep the defense from locking in on where he's going to be. And of course, we talked about Champ Bailey and the injuries that he has. If he's able to make the tackle there, he holds Yoder short of the first down. That was a key pickup there. It's imperative for the Redskins to be able to hold this offense to a field goal attempt and not let them in the end zone.
First and goal, the ball at the 6. Michael Pittman. And nothing, as he is hit immediately by Jesse Armstead and held to a 2-yard pickup.
Well, I've got to go back to the play by Yoder. Here's a guy coming off the bench, takes a big hit, gets his hand down, makes a lunge, because if he doesn't do everything that he did at the end of the play, that field goal team would have been on the field for that one. That was just a fantastic effort by Todd Yoder.
Well, the thing about it is Tampa Bay has been extremely successful here on third down, completing 70%. Washington's not been able to stop them on some long situations.
Second and goal. Pittman was in motion, and here is Will Heller, and Will Heller is in for the touchdown. Undrafted rookie from Georgia Tech, and Brad Johnson found him, and the Buccaneers having to go deep with a lot of these injuries on offense.
Well, and what did we talk about at the beginning of the game, that with the injuries that they've got, Mike Allstott out, Joe Jurevicius, limited Keyshawn Johnson, this is when John Gruden has to be at his best, and typically it's when he is, and he has shown that again today. He's getting Will Heller involved, he's gotten Todd Yoder involved, and he's used all the players that are out there playing in this game.
You know what, though, Troy, at some point the Redskins defensively have to be able to stop a bootleg. I mean, how smart do you have to be at some point to say they're going to run a bootleg down on the goal line?
John Gruden, how resourceful is he, going to backup tight ends who catch 3 of Brad Johnson's touchdown tosses today. Long drives today, and I don't mean off the tee. That was a 91-yard, 12-play drive, capitalizing on the turnover, and Chad Morton trying to give the Redskins something to cheer about, and he does. Morton going out of bounds shy of the 40-yard line, and a return of 38 yards. Let's check the touchdown again, guys.
Well, Champ Bailey is such a great football player, but he makes a big mistake here. He's going to take the release of the first tight end coming off the ball, and he is responsible for this flat out here. By taking this guy and trying to jam him, he blows his assignment and allows for an easy touchdown.
Remember, they went 91 yards, and still in the third quarter, Dwight Smith had that interception of that long pass to Rod Gardner, and into the fourth quarter, Buccaneers now lead 21-13. And Will Heller, undrafted rookie from Georgia Tech. And before the play can get underway, the Redskins call a timeout. That is their first.
Beautiful. Why did Car and Driver name it Best Luxury SUV for 2003? Well, there's this. 4X Motion all-wheel drive.
Beautiful.
Touareg, the Volkswagen that does what other Volkswagens don't.
Hey, Donovan! Surprise! It's not my yard.
If you really want tickets to the game, just use your Visa. It's the card you know they'll take everywhere you want to be. Visa.
Hey, you!
Proud sponsor of the NFL.
Here's the ageless Bruce Smith on the sideline, still needing 2 sacks to set the all-time NFL record, surpassing Reggie White. A little frustrated over there.
One of the greatest of all time, no question.
First down for the Redskins on the 37, trailing by 8 points. Up the middle, bobble, caught by Rod Gardner, and they'll mark it at the 41-yard line. A lot of baseball action. Aramis Ramirez with a grand slam home run. Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, and then the hit batsman, and then everything. All hell broke loose really at Fenway Park yesterday, and it continues today and tonight as the Cubs and Marlins next. Cubs with a chance to win, eliminate the Marlins, get to the World Series. Yankees and Red Sox game 4 tonight.
I'm wondering if Joe Buck got out of the stadium last night without getting into a scuffle.
I'll bet he did. 2nd and 7, flag down, and no play as Lavernius Coles, as when they throw the hat, that means a player went out of bounds, and a flag is thrown, and a penalty holding will be called against the Redskins.
You know, this Redskins offense has done a pretty good job of not self-destructing today.
Holding, 77 to the offense. 10-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
Randy Thomas, who was the only offensive lineman without a false start, and commits a penalty here.
Well,
that's
now
a big one.
Yeah, it is a big one, and that's the, we mentioned the first one that he's had. He's been the real anchor of that offensive line when they've had all these penalties, and now you can lump him in with the rest of them.
Redskins unraveling a bit here in the latter stages of the 3rd and early here in the 4th. They once led 13-7, but trail 21-13, and the screen pass to Byron Chamberlain, and his first catch in a Redskin uniform doesn't net him a lot. Just 2 yards, thanks to Derek Brooks.
You know, we haven't talked much about Derek Brooks, but he is probably, you know, he definitely is one of the fastest players on the field, but because of his anticipation and the way that he's able to recognize formations and tendencies, it even makes him that much faster. And he's able to here see the screen, he comes back out and is able to make a play, and he is unquestionably the leader of that defense and does a great job as the quarterback in getting guys in the right positions.
No question about it, the heart and soul of that defensive unit with a lot of other great defensive players. 3rd and 15. Patrick Ramsey going upfield, and the ball is knocked down incomplete. Good coverage that time on Darnarian McCants, and Jermaine Phillips, starting his first NFL game as free safety today, made a fine play.
Boy, when you look at the Buccaneers defensively, when it's 3rd down and long, their linebacker core is about 10 yards deep. That was 3rd and so long. So the holes out there to throw into were very, very, very small.
Well, and that was an important drive for the Redskins. The Tampa Bay offense is on a roll, and you want to get something going yourself. Now they give the ball right back into their hands.
Ryan Barker and Wansley with the fair catch at the 30-yard line. Warren Sapp and Patrick Ramsey. How often have you seen this between Sapp and any quarterback? (21-13), the Buccaneers lead the Redskins, and the Redskin defense, even though it's early in the 4th quarter, this is an important drive for them to short circuit Tampa Bay if they want to hang in this game. Tampa Bay has had the momentum, and this pass caught Keenan McCardell, and McCardell has another first down, picking up 13.
Little similarity in these 3 touchdowns, huh, Troy? I mean, you know, at some point, maybe the light goes on. Bootleg, 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 and every time I'm seeing Champ Bailey chasing the inside receiver and the guy popping to the outside wide open.
Well, that, and based on defensive alignment, whether it's Reagan Upshaw or Ronaldo Wynn, they have not had anybody home to contain that outside against Brad Johnson. So he's had clean looks at each of those receivers.
And the backup tight ends taking center stage on first down. Michael Pittman on the pitch, and Pittman is tripped up at the 47 after a 5-yard pickup by Jesse Armstead, and Bernard Holsey also gets involved.
You know, we mentioned earlier about Mike Allstott being out. He's put on IR. He will not be playing the rest of this year, and how much of a load Michael Pittman then is going to have to be able to absorb. But they're not even certain that, Chris, that he's going to be able to make it through the entire season. Of course, some of the problems that he's got off the field, but they don't know exactly when that's going to come to a head and whether or not he's going to make it on through January.
81 yards today, 141 and 164 in his last 2 games. He has really become that Marshall Faulk for this offense.
Thomas Jones, the running back, and the first down pass to Keyshawn Johnson. First down at the 41-yard line of the Redskins, with nearly 5 minutes gone by, and Tampa Bay on a roll here, trying to come back from that Monday night horror.
Yeah, and you can see Keyshawn Johnson in his thigh, and it's giving him some problems. Very slow getting up off the ground, and talked to him before the game, asked him if he was going to be playing. He said he was, but the reason that he was he really felt that Brad Johnson needed him out there to be somewhat of a security blanket for him, even if for nothing else, just being out in the huddle. But he's had a bigger impact on the game than just that.
He's been huge here in the second half.
3 catches, 41 yards, but a lot more than the numbers show. You're right. First down at the 41. Michael Pittman, and gets inside the 40, picking up 2. And right now, John Gruden wouldn't mind a little sprinkling of ball control at this rate. Huh?
Well, after what happened on Monday night, I mean, they know that they're not just going to give up, and they got to get more points. 21 points wasn't enough Monday night, and right now you can bet not only are they trying to take some time off the clock, but they have every intention of getting this thing down and trying to get in the end zone.
You mean you never have enough?
Apparently not.
McCardell in motion. 2nd and 8, the pump fake one way and going deep to Keyshawn Johnson. He's got it. Touchdown, Buccaneers. And Matt Bowen was left to cover Keyshawn, who beat him soundly, a 39-yard score. And for Brad Johnson coming back to Washington, that is his 4th touchdown pass of the game.
Well, let me tell you, a lot of people want to be critical of Brad Johnson, and he lacks arm strength and all this stuff, but he has all the intangibles and knows how to play the position. He pumps to the right to Keenan McCardell. He's not there. He comes back to the middle of the field, as you're going to see, and he gets Keyshawn Johnson going over the top, and that's just a great job by Brad, moving defensive players to get his guys open.
Well, what he did was he moved that backside safety, so you end up running the route one-on-one against Matt Bowen.
And Martin Gramatica for the extra point in a very quiet stadium here in Landover, Maryland. Keyshawn Johnson's first touchdown catch of the year, and the Buccaneers now lead 28-13. The Conqueror and the Conquered, and Keyshawn Johnson with the touchdown catch, and Matt Bowen, who was behind him, trying to chase him, and a 15-point lead now for the Buccaneers. And the kickoff fielded and down in the end zone by Chad Morton. It'll be a touchback, and the Redskins begin from the 20 with a hole, deep hole for them.
The key to this play was the protection that Brad Johnson got. He had to do the big pump fake and then come all the way back to the backside. He knew he had man coverage on the play, though. When the safety walks up over here, that's going to mean Matt Bowen by himself against the wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson, and that is an absolute mismatch. Watch how he sets him up to the outside before breaking off to the post.
I don't think Matt Bowen thought that Keyshawn would run by him and was anticipating a little curl route or a square in, and that's what allowed Keyshawn to run by him. And he said, hey, I can run deep. Nobody thinks I can run deep. I can run deep. They just don't throw it to me when I do. They threw it to him today.
8:48 to go in the 4th. And a handoff to Liddell Betts, and maybe a yard. And let's change pace to baseball. That's coming up. And JB, what do you got for us?
Hey, Dick, the Cubs have hit an NLCS record 10 home runs in this series. 2 of them by that guy right there, Sammy Sosa. Cubs lead the Marlins 3-1. One more victory. They'll be in the World Series for the first time since 1945. Back to Dick Stockton.
All right, James, and the pass caught by Byron Chamberlain, and that is a first down. Chamberlain getting into the act for the Redskins. First week he's been with the team, and picking up 15 in the process.
Yeah, he hasn't had any time really to learn this offense, but yet he's been involved in a lot of plays. But now Washington is in the position that they didn't want to have to be in. They've got to throw the football against a good pass rushing defense.
And they're throwing it, and the ball nearly intercepted. Byron Chamberlain might have had his back to the play, and Jermaine Phillips nearly picked it off, but we'll have a penalty call against the Redskins.
That was a great call you made, though. Byron Chamberlain acted like he didn't have a clue the ball was coming.
Illegal use of hands to the face. Number 76 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Still a first down.
That's on John Jansen, the right tackle.
Chamberlain took off down the field. Now maybe he just doesn't even see it. There you go. Good call by the officials. Working against Greg Spires. Really, the protection's been pretty good up front today. You can't complain about that. Anytime you're working against a bunch that's this good, they just had some strange schemes on occasion.
He got hit harder a lot more against the Eagles last week. Liddell Betts looking for any kind of room, and there's just none there. And the crowd not at all pleased with the play call selection that time. Just a 2-yard pickup.
Well, they don't like it. They're down 15 points. It's 2 scores, and they've got to get the ball down in the end zone. I understand that you want to try to protect Patrick Ramsey, but right now you can't afford to do that. You need some big plays.
2nd and 19. They go underneath, and that's Liddell Betts. And he gets back to the original line of scrimmage, maybe 11 yards shy of the first down to the 35. Nate Webster on the coverage inside, and a pickup of 8.
I'm a little surprised we're not seeing Chad Morton in the ball game here. He gives you a little big play possibility with Trump candidate out.
Yeah, normally they use him in some time in the backfield, but not today. Here is the pass, and it's intercepted by Derek Brooks, and he's going to sail into the end zone for the touchdown. There are no flags down. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as they did last week in the losing cause with Ronde Barber returning it for a score, get one from Brooks, and a 44-yard return on the interception for the touchdown. And Patrick Ramsey is enraged.
Well, you're going to watch Ramsey. He's going to get some pressure, which is to be expected when the defense knows you're throwing the football. He steps up, but at the grab right there, Anthony McFarland gets a hold of his shoulder pad, which keeps him from being able to follow through. And of course, Derek Brooks, he had 5 interceptions last year. He's such a playmaker for this defense.
And 3 returned for a touchdown as he was the defensive MVP. And ordinarily, Dick Stockton, we'd say this game is over, but we all watched the Monday night game.
Because if you say it, it won't be.
That's right.
Well, Ronde Barber had the interception for a touchdown last week that very similar to what just happened here.
Martin Gramatica adding the 35th point for Tampa Bay. And you know what? That's what they scored on Monday night. 35 points against the Colts.
I tell you what, I'll give you guys the Redskins at this point. I'll take the Bucs.
So kind. 7th career touchdown for Derek Brooks, and of course both of you guys have been effusive, rightfully so, the praise of really the pivotal figure of this defensive unit.
Well, you know, the other thing is that I think needs to be pointed out, this is an offense today that stepped up. I mean, this is an offense that really, when the defense was struggling, came up with some long drives, did their job for the 2nd straight week. They scored 35 a week ago with the game on the line. Brad Johnson, Michael Pittman, Keyshawn Johnson, they got it done. Forever it was up to the defense to win games. They're winning games on offense now.
And I still think the game was decided early in the 3rd quarter when they had 3rd and long and they got the ball into the hands of Michael Pittman, and he's able to convert that into a first down. They then went down the field and got a touchdown on that drive. And then Washington was just unable to do anything offensively. And quite frankly, the Redskins defense hasn't stopped the Tampa offense since that time. And, you know, when you consider how much the Redskins dominated the time of possession early in this game, it's been the complete opposite here in the 2nd half.
And you got to give Tampa Bay a lot of credit because of all the guys that are out and playing hurt today. Chad Morton returning for the Redskins and ridden down at the 23-yard line. With just under 7 minutes to go here in the 4th quarter, and a glum bench, and the glummest of all seems to be LeVar Arrington.
Yeah, and they're bringing Rob Johnson in at quarterback, which is really a good decision. I mean, Patrick Ramsey's been back there. He's been taking some hits. Tough to come back from this deficit. Get Rob Johnson in. Rob Johnson has not yet played for the Redskins this season. Of course, he joined them after having been with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
First down on the 22, and Liddell Betts brings it out to the 26-yard line. So, I tell you, Patrick Ramsey having to face 2 crunching defenses in as many weeks. The Eagles last week, and then going right into the fire with the Bucs, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, this is graduate level work right now for Patrick Ramsey, and you go back the week before that, having to go up against Bill Belichick and company up there as well. So, I mean, this is the best of the best the last 2 weeks, possibly the last 3 weeks as far as coordinators that he'll face, and he'll step forward. He's a guy that's still learning.
2nd and 6. Rob Johnson handing off to Betts. And Betts to the 29-yard line, bringing up 3rd down. And many of the crowd here in Landover headed for the exits. They get the idea, but you know, you can leave sometime too early. But with Steve Spurrier going with Rob Johnson, it looks like Spurrier is saying, let's get ready for another day.
Yeah, and I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers showed us today why they are the defending world champions. For them to come off a very devastating loss and just hang in there today when things were not going well for them, I think it says a lot about this ball club.
3rd and 3. And the pass caught, 1st down to Rod Gardner at the 40-yard line. And you know, you look at all of the changes in the secondary. Brian Kelly, who was you know, tied for the league in interceptions last year, and then you have to move people around, and you know, that's a tough deal. Shelton Quarles, they hope to get him back very soon. The linebacker is out, and I think that John Gruden did a fantastic job of being resourceful on offense with some of his players hurt on that end of it.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about Monty Kiffin all day today and what he did adjusting with his defense as well.
1st down, and there's Gardner into Tampa Bay territory. And another 1st down. He gets 14 there. Yeah, Monty Kiffin came up with the right answers against Patrick Ramsey.
Yeah, and the other thing to point out is that they're going to be getting some of their players back. Shelton Quarles, their middle linebacker, who Nate Webster's been filling in for, he has been practicing this week. He's expected to come back in next week's ball game. And then also Joe Juravicius will be making a comeback here soon as well. So they'll slowly start to get more of the pieces of the puzzle back on the field, which is only going to help them.
Juravicius scheduled to come back for the Dallas game in 2 weeks. And the Byron Chamberlain with the catch at the 40-yard line as we get close to the 4-minute mark.
You know, Monty Kiffin this past week talked about his head coach John Gruden. He said, you know, all week long, all I've heard after the loss was Tony Dungy this and Tony Dungy that. And yes, he did a great job with that team. Let me tell you something. We have a ring on our finger for one reason, and one reason only, and that's because John Gruden came to Tampa Bay. He was very, very defensive of his head coach.
2nd and 4. Rob Johnson in relief of Patrick Ramsey goes down. And it's Warren Sapp, and I think chalk up number 1 on the year for Warren Sapp.
Well, coming into the game, Warren Sapp actually had more touchdown catches than he had sacks. He had 1 touchdown reception a couple of weeks ago, and today he's got 2 sacks. But I think Monty Kiffin was being a bit complimentary in his comments about John Gruden, and rightfully so. But John didn't do it alone. I mean, there were a lot of players and a lot of coaches that helped contribute to that year they had a year ago.
And a timeout called by the Redskins with 3rd and 7 coming up, and it is not a crucial 3rd down, I think you could say. And so the timeout, well, this is going to be different for the Redskins. All of their games so far had been decided by 3 points or less. That will, and I'll do the math fast, not going to be the case today.
Well, I think they were looking forward, yeah, to playing in a game that they could win big, but instead it's the other way around. And let's be honest, even though Tampa's got some guys that are banged up, this is an overmatched ball club. I mean, the Redskins are not on the same level as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
But Tampa Bay, off of that short week, off of that embarrassment, off of going in down at halftime and not playing particularly well. This defense did not look good in the first half out here. For them to come out in the second half, I don't know what John Gruden said at halftime, but they exploded in the second half, both offensively and defensively, and they look like the world champions.
There are no automatics in the league, but this certainly wasn't a gimme coming into this game.
Absolutely not.
3rd and 7 on the 43 after the timeout. Rob Johnson has Lavernius Coles, and he will not get the 1st down as he tackled at the 40-yard line. Well, the Buccaneers, I guess you could call them road warriors now, because they will go 3-0 on the road. They defeated the Eagles 17-0, Atlanta by 21 points, and winning going away against the Redskins and going on the road next week to play the San Francisco 49ers. So taking a look at the upcoming games on the Tampa Bay schedule, and a couple of toughies in there.
Well, they're all tough, Dick, and I still think San Francisco is a pretty good ball club, and they'll be tested again next week, as they will each week, as we see another sack
by Simeon Rice
making his fourth sack of the game.
You know, last year, remember Simeon had 5 straight games with at least 2 sacks that set a new NFL record. This guy is someone that you simply cannot just try and block with one guy. And that's the first one, though, on Chris Samuels, who's done a decent job on him today. But it's been backs, tight ends, and tackles. It doesn't matter. You can't get him blocked.
And I think it's interesting. When he was at Arizona, there were a lot of people that just didn't think that he was ever going to live up to the billing that he had coming into the league. But when he came to Tampa, 1, the system fit him very well. And then 2, as Monty Kiffin has said, the players around him, and it raised his level when he was able to play with Derek Brooks and McFarland and Warren Sapp, and it really made him go out and focus more, and he's become a much better player as a result.
Taking over on downs, and Michael Pittman to run the ball, and he is upended by Champ Bailey for a loss. And sometimes you have to get under that cloud, so to speak, in Tempe to show what you can do.
Yeah, but I think the biggest part of it, yes, Monty Kiffin and all those guys, but when you have Warren Sapp sitting inside of you, and you know he's going to draw the double teams, and Booger McFarland, probably no other team in the league would have been willing to single block Simeon Rice because they were so afraid of Sapp and so afraid of McFarland on the inside. And Sapp's probably over there saying, you know, maybe you ought to not call me out too many more times before a ball game. He was definitely fired up today.
Well, they were banged up. The Redskins were in the middle, but it's a joyous sideline. Keyshawn Johnson, Warren Sapp, 2-minute warning. Bucks headed for their 3rd win of the year. Coming up on the SBC Game Break Show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Jimmy will have scores and highlights from around the league, and the new and improved Fox Sports ticker has up to the second scores and stats. 2 minutes to go in this one, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with 28 unanswered points running away from the Washington Redskins here on the road. 2nd down and 11, and the handoff to Thomas Jones, speaking about former Arizona Cardinals, and Jones getting the first down with under 2 minutes.
Well, and Michael Pittman as well. And you know, again, I like to go back to Brad Johnson and just the game that he's had. I mean, he threw 4 touchdown passes, 22 of 30 passing, and he just does such a good job. And I think he's a great fit for John Gruden. When you think of John Gruden and the job that he did with Rich Gannon in Oakland, then he's fortunate enough to get a guy like Brad Johnson. Both of these quarterbacks are students of the game, and they take it very seriously. They get in there, it's important to them. They're meticulous in their note-taking. I think it's really been a great fit for these two.
And you use what you have. Today didn't have Ken Dilker, who went out with injury, so he had Todd Yoder and Will Heller, and he also has Michael Pittman, who of course you mentioned, as he runs for the first down. Well, today's game produced by Richard Zients and directed by Artie Kempner. The technical producer is Matt Benedict. The technical director is Rich Basili, and the audio mixer is Fred Aldis. The associate directors are Greg Scopatoni and Derek Manning. The broadcast associates are Judy Wong and Jeremy Green. The pregame show produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The associate director is Stephanie Medina. The studio technical supervisor is Jack Simmons. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown, and the executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill. Aaron Stecker turning the corner. Looks like Tampa Bay wants to get some more. And with under a half a minute to go, and the clock continues to run, another first down.
You know, I just want to make the point that even if you're not a baseball fan, even if you hate the game of baseball, watch these 2 games tonight. You've got history in the making with the Cubs.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, this Yankees-Red Sox series is theater. It's amazing to watch that series.
And here's LeVar Arrington and Warren Sapp. After all of the words during the game, they are together again. That's sportsmanship for you. Tampa Bay will win on the road and will go to 3-2 on the year, winning their 3rd straight here. And the Washington Redskins now drop to 3-3 on the season. And we'll be back here to wrap it up. The final score again, the Buccaneers 35, the Redskins 13. We'll be right back.